Hey guys, this is Nikki in Ljubljana, and something interesting happened today. So I served a legal letter to my landlord because he was such an asshole. Um, I lived in this shared apartment with some roommates because I had no choice. It was like the only offer I've got for Ljubljana. And warning for those who want to move or live in Ljubljana, the housing is such a mess here. They're freaking expensive. It feels like Paris. And landlords are shit. So, I've documented everything with this landlord because I had a roommate who was smoking at home, and every time I caught her smoking, I documented this and notified the landlord. But he did nothing about it, and to me, it's not fair at all because I didn't sign for a smoking house. So I wasn't okay with this at all, and I expressed this to him. Aside from that, the said housemate was also very loud, inconsiderate, and very messy. So the messy part, of course, I cannot complain about that. But the loud part, I actually requested the landlord to set quiet hours because by Slovenian law, they need to set quiet hours from 10 p.m. And he really didn't do anything about this until there was a visit from the police once upon a time when my other housemates were playing loud music or a movie in the living room. And they were visited by the police, and right there and then the landlord set up a meeting with all of us to talk about this. But even after the talk, even after the police visit, this said housemates didn't really do anything, and I asked the landlord to please step in because I couldn't sleep. But he didn't do anything. So for December, I wasn't really able to sleep at all in the apartment due to the noise. And I moved out. And I demanded that he return my deposit because I think it's rightful that he returns it to me because he has an obligation to maintain peace and quiet and a safe environment for residential space, and he wasn't able to comply with all of these things. And for this, I served him a letter demanding that he returns my full deposit, of course minus the utilities incurred for the month of November because I am paid full from October and November except for the utilities in the month of November. And at first, he attempted to call me, and I received his call. I answered the call. But during the phone call, he started raising his voice at me, shouting at me, and insisting that he was nice to me for allowing me to terminate the contract and giving only 1 month of notification instead of the Slovenian mandated law of 3 months, which is not true because there was no mention of the termination period in the contract. And so I told him, actually, I referred to a lawyer about this. And as a tenant who signed this contract in a residential housing, I have a right and you have the obligation to provide a space that will not expose me to any health risk and a space that can maintain peace and quiet, especially from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. as mandated by the Slovenian law. And when I mentioned to him that I referred to a lawyer about all of these things and that he actually has to compensate me for risking me of secondhand smoke in the place and for not providing me peace and quiet, that I couldn't sleep in the apartment. And immediately, 5 minutes or 10 minutes after that, he sends me this formal email and letter stating that I will be receiving my full deposit minus the utilities incurred in November in exchange of the keys, because I still have the keys. Oh, and by the way, the keys. The keys has a special story because during the phone call, he also said that it was my responsibility to hand over the keys. And I said, no, it is your responsibility as the landlord to set these things instead of me. Why put the burden on me? It is your responsibility to arrange all of these things. And no, you didn't do your responsibility at all. So yeah, guys, so if you have these kinds of landlord, if you have an asshole landlord, I highly suggest that you refer to a friend who knows the law. I honestly didn't go to a lawyer. It's just I did my own research and I drafted it in a legalese way so that it sounded like it's written by a lawyer. And I think I was successful. And so we're going to have the handover of the keys, and he's going to return to me the money that he owes me, and we're going to sign the contract and no issues after that. So yeah, that's my story about Ljubljana. So guys, be careful about signing contracts with landlords here, because they're going to be vague and they're going to use it to their advantage. But use that vagueness to your advantage, because it doesn't really set out the rules. It's very open to interpretation by law, and use the law to your advantage all the time. I also documented that during the phone call, he raised his voice and I immediately sent him a text message stating that you are very disrespectful. I am scared of having this conversation with you because you're shouting at me. I prefer to have a respectful conversation, and I shall not be talking to anyone who raises his voice at me. So I documented that because that is grounds for harassment. So guys, you can win these things if you know the rules, if you know the law. If you have full information, you will be protected, because for landlords like this, mine, actually, we've been exchanging money in form of cash, and I have a strong feeling that his business isn't registered in the first place, and he has so much to lose than for me to lose. And I wouldn't have minded, to be honest, I wouldn't have minded that I lose the deposit because I got the apartment for cheap, but he just pisses me off. If he were nice to me, I wouldn't have played this game, but he was such an asshole that I want to put him in place. Even if it was just €1, I will fight for it because he's a fucking asshole. If he was understanding, if he was good, if he was nice to me, if he was considerate, and I saw that he made an effort to actually maintain peace and quiet in the house, I wouldn't have done any of this. I used to live in Italy, and I had a very expensive rental in Italy, but my landlord there was so easy to talk to. I had so many requests. I need a fast Wi-Fi. I needed a knife. I needed things, kitchenware. I needed an electric fan. I needed an appliance. And she provided all of that. No questions asked. But this landlord was so difficult. It was misrepresentation, actually, because in my contract, it stated that there was a new mattress and there wasn't. And he even said that if you're not happy, just leave. And no, I don't take that for an answer, because it is his responsibility to provide these things that he represented in the contract. So yeah, fight for your right. And if you have questions, I'll be very happy to help. Good luck, guys, with your rental experiences in Europe. Ciao.